Great. So, previously in Tyranny of Dragons, while Roscoe, Azil, and Tal were busy in the vaults under Helm's shield hall, Thokk was taken to the chambers of Helm's lawmaker, a priest named Exar, to be interrogated. It turned out that the methods employed by this lawmaker included torture. The alarm bells, triggered after the theft from the vault was discovered, allowed Thokk to escape and climb down the window to the temple's courtyard, where he met Roscoe and Tal. Azil had already left to lay low somewhere in the city, and the heroes, with guards everywhere, decided to sneak out of the temple one by one, and Roscoe went first. Roscoe, you crossed the courtyard and entered Elturel proper, but then you were attacked by one of your own clan members. It was a halfling riding on a giant owl. You fled into an alley where someone told you that an acquaintance is waiting for you in a warehouse just behind the Spinning Goblin Inn. You went there to investigate, and you found a dwarf allied with Lenithan. He sat there simply peeling potatoes, and when you asked him about a way out of the city, he simply opened the trapdoor in the floor. Then you heard the alarm bells again, and you realized that your fellows are in trouble. You left the dwarf and rushed to aid your friends, who were actually busy shaking off guards emerging from the temple. And this is where we stopped last time. So I do have the initiative order of the last session, but just for the fun of it, let's roll it again. This time with Roscoe rolling also. So Roscoe, what do you want to do?
I would like to sort of sneak back toward where the guys, where we were, to our hiding place. And while on the way, I'd like to keep an eye out for that, my clan member on I believe it was a giant owl who
Correct.
had attacked me.
Yes. Okay, so make a stealth check plus a perception check as you sneak back to the temple. Awesome.
Ooh, two 22s.
Yes. It's actually amazing. So you believe you managed to stay undetected as you run from one alley to the other, and you keep looking up, and indeed in some point you do identify the giant owl also basically flying from one rooftop to the other, and you can see the halfling on top of it scanning the streets, but you think that he didn't saw you. He's definitely on your tail though.
I'm not sure what Roscoe is thinking about that at this point. I think he sort of has mixed feelings. He half wants to be hidden from this person, and he half wants to be spotted. Also, I don't know. He's kind of yeah, he's torn.
Okay, so
But I guess he's going to try and take care of his friends first before he deals with his personal business.
you do make it to the edge of the building line, and then in front of you you can see the courtyard and the gardens surrounding the temple. You do know that if you cross as is, your clan member will probably see you. That said, you do see Thokk and Tal basically running with something like 3 to 5 guards running after them. So you still have an action if you want to take one.
How far from me are they?
So you think something like 100 feet, maybe more. 150.
Okay. Hmm. I think I will make myself apparent, visible to them,
Okay.
and shake my spoon and indicate that they should follow after me.
Okay. Very well. Thokk, you, as you run across the courtyard and the gardens, you indeed see Roscoe popping his head from one of Elturel's allies. Um, you do recognize the owl. I'm not sure if you saw it or Tal. I think you saw it last time, Thokk. But you do see a giant owl emerging from one of the rooftops. On top of it is a halfling holding a javelin, and you can definitely see that he's aiming at Roscoe. Behind you, you think are 5 temple guards, and the bells are obviously on. What do you do?
Okay, I'm gonna get Tal's attention and point towards Roscoe and start running that way, dodging as best I can any missiles that may be coming up from behind.
Okay. Great. So as you run, indeed, 2 crossbow bolts whistle past you, but they don't hit you. And you can hear Tal panting right behind you. So Tal, what do you do?
Okay, so I think I haven't used this yet, but I would like to try to breed my poison breath, but instead of my poison, I would like to unconsciously use the mist one.
Okay, great. So as you do, indeed, grayish, gray to black mist pour out from your throat and basically engulfs you and Thokk. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I would like to do it in front of me,
Okay, so
or
you.
behind, which is behind me. I mean, behind me and
Okay, right.
sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So you below this dark fog cloud. It basically expands and covers the area behind you, and you can hear the guards cry out in surprise. And 2 more crossbow bolts whistle past you. Disadvantage this time. And Thokk, and none of the bullets actually hit anything. You can simply hear them fall on the grass or hit tree trunks. So obviously, obviously the fog cloud worked.
I will be surprised at this event, but since our lives are at stake, I am me and Tuck are just gonna book it. We're just gonna run away.
Okay, great. At this point, Roscoe, sorry, you see Roscoe waving his spoon, and then you can see the giant owl simply descend, and the its halfling rider throws the javelin at Roscoe. Roscoe, your armor class is 16?
Yes.
Okay. So the javelin does not hit you. You can actually hear the halfling kind of pant as he throws the javelin. Do you want to try and catch it?
Yeah, I would like to catch it and um, I think spend a key point to try and throw it back and try and hit the owl with it.
Okay, great. So you turn around as the javelin flies toward you. You catch it, and then, using your spinning momentum, you simply throw it back. Make an attack roll.
Ooh, it's a crit.
Oh, great. Crit is awesome. How many points of damage?
9.
9. Okay, let's see what happened.
Basically, I'm aiming for. I kind of even feel guilty about doing this, but I really want to talk to this person, and I feel like the only way to do that is to get him off his mount. So I'm sort of aiming at the, I guess the musculature where the wing attaches itself to the torso of the owl. I'm trying to just sort of disable one of its wings so that it can't fly
Okay.
anymore.
Great. So the owl takes all this damage. You don't hear anything, but you do sense that, well, it suddenly banks as the javelin, sticks into its wing, and the halfling on top of it is basically struggling to stay on it. Let's make a should be dexterity. Oh, okay. So he will make an animal handling check. Let's see if he actually can take control of the owl, and then let's see that he simply doesn't fall from it. Okay, so he succeeded in his dexterity check to stay on top of the owl, but he lost control of the beast. So the owl basically is hovering and looking for a place to land. So if I remember correctly, I told you about a line of trees surrounding the garden. So the owl will simply head that way in spite of its rider's attempt to keep it next to you, Roscoe. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thokk and Tal, assuming you simply run, at this point you reach Roscoe, and obviously you've just witnessed his the way he handled the approaching spear, the approaching javelin. So the three of you are all together. You can hear the guards behind you, but the fog and the fact that you simply bolted and ran bought you a round or two before they arrive. So what do you want to do?
I find a way out, guys. It's the way out is in. It's through the basement of an inn called what was it? The something goblin, the sleeping goblin, the spinning goblin, some kind of goblin. It's that way. But first, I want to catch the my the villager, my third cousin, on the owl. He fell down over there, and he might know what happened to my family. So I have to run to the trees to catch him.
How far away did the owl land from us?
You think it's something like 40 to 50 feet. So let's say that the guards are approaching you from behind, so it kind of fell 50 feet to your left.
Can I see where it landed?
Make a perception check.
That would be a no.
So you basically saw it head straight into the tree line, but you're not sure if he landed right behind it or perched on one of the trees. You didn't see exactly, but you know the general direction. Everyone does, but you couldn't spot where it landed exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna head towards where it went down and see if I can spot them.
Okay. So you dash again. When you reach the tree line, make another perception check. Okay, so you basically, rush into the trees. It's a well-tended, kind of, a green lung inside Elturel, and you look around, but you don't see anything. At this point, a javelin passes by you, missing you, almost hit you, but You crouched to look at something, and then it simply whizzed just above your head. So obviously the rider spotted you, but you can't see it.
And I didn't see where the javelin came from, right?
Behind you, basically, but when you looked there, you didn't see anything. So, but obviously, it's the rider or the owl, or both of them are somewhere next to you.
Roscoe has gone with Thokk
Okay.
there.
Tal, what about you?
I'll just do a snarky comment for Roscoe and I go, your family is everywhere. And then I'll just tag along at them. I just wanna check if everything is all clear and no one's chasing us before we head out.
Okay.
Yeah, that comment kind of goes over Roscoe's head, and he's like, "Are they where? Where else? Did you find someone else in my family?"
Yeah, someone just flew by. Let's go. And I point to the direction where the owl was.
Oh, yes, right.
So when you all basically get into the trees and past the tree line, Tal, you look back and you see that the guards have just emerged from the
Fog, mist.
from the fog, and they basically look around, and then one of them is waving to a priest that is coming out of the temple and heading their direction. But it will take the priest some time to arrive there. He's not running, he's walking. He's quite fat, and he is very he's sweating a lot, so out of shape. You think
Do we know this priest?
yes, you have met him. This one is Ondul. You're not sure what his position in the priesthood is, but being a soldier, you do know that sometimes priests they can aid soldiers and guards, finding something using spells. They can divine locations, so the guards seem to be simply waiting for him to arrive.
Okay. Well, with the perception, I was gonna say I wanna talk about this, but since you saw him roll badly, I'll just mention this for the group, and I just say that he should make haste.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess Roscoe is kind of frantically looking around for this person.
Okay, so
Clearly we only have a moment to try and get him.
yes, so Tal and Roscoe make perception checks. Thokk already made his check.
2 1s in a row.
20 for Roscoe.
And Tal?
Hello,
Yeah, I need you to make a perception check.
hello.
Tal, do you hear us? Did we lose the Dragonborn? Guys?
Yeah, he dropped offline, so he may have lost his connection.
Okay. 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 So let's. Oh, here he is back. So we lost you, Paul. Hope you can hear us now. I just asked for a perception check. Great. Okay. So we'll let Oral sort out his connection. But in the meantime, Roscoe, you spotted your cousin basically climbing down one of the trees, head before feet. So he's upside down, and you can see he's holding a dagger between his teeth, and there's something strange about him with the forest around and the trees and all the excitement. You can't really pinpoint it, but something is off about him. When he spots you, he basically jumps from the tree and kind of spread his legs and arms, simply trying to crash down on you. Let's see if he can pull it off. So he hits an armor class of 16. So
That's me.
that's you. Yeah. Okay. For some reason I thought you have an armor class of 17, but that's Tal. I maybe switched my notes, but okay. So he basically jumps on you, but he doesn't try to stab you or something like that. He simply crashes on you. So the blow itself deals 2 points of bludgeoning damage, and then both of you roll on the floor, just in front Thokk and Tal. When he hits you, you realize what it is that is off about him. You can see and smell that his flesh is basically withering away. You can see that his features are sickly. He is pale. Obviously, some ailment has worked its effect on him, but you're not sure what it is.
What's his name?
You tell me.
Milo.
Okay. Great.
Milo, stop it, get off of me. I just want to talk to you. I need to know what happened to my parents, what happened to the village. Do you know you work for a torturer? They were going to torture us.
He looks at you, and as you both roll on the floor, you can hear him whisper, "Eyes, eyes in the night. There are eyes in the night." And then he takes the dagger, and now he tries to stab you. Basically, you're on top of him, or he's on top of you, and you basically try to put the dagger in your eye or something like that.
Ugh.
Yeah. Thokk and Tal, what are you doing at this point?
Are we in range
Yes.
to see this happen?
Yeah, so
Can I tackle that guy?
So he and Roscoe are entangled with one another. You can definitely try and pull them apart, but you risk getting stabbed by this guy. So
I'll take a dagger or whatever weapon that is to save Roscoe.
Okay.
In a way, kind of. Yeah, I'll just charge in. I'll just knock these two out.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Wait, I've got the next initiative stop, don't I?
Yeah, you are before Tal, correct.
Okay. Then as I see Tal start running in, I'm gonna try to knock out Roscoe's friend.
Okay. How do you want to do that? You simply try to
Does he have less than 27 hit points?
Oh, amazing. Yes, he has. Great. So, Tal, as you approach and try to grab the guy's dagger, Roscoe, you suddenly feel the limbs of your cousin go numb. He simply starts snoring in your hands, and Tal, you simply take the blade from his hands. You do realize that this blade is ancient, and when I mean ancient, it's like 200, 300 years old. It's decorated in an arcane, not arcane, but antique way, and its tip is covered with some brownish liquid or substance. It could be dried up blood, but it can also be poison.
Okay, I grab this weapon, and then I will inform the group about this. And I tell Roscoe, your cousin, whatever he is, almost killed you with poison.
I know. Can you pick him up? And let's go to the spinning goblin right away. Please.
I'm gonna bind his hands and feet, and then let Tal pick him up.
Okay.
I will bind his mouth in case he's one of these magic people.
Okay. So you bind the halfling, and Tal, you carry him. I'm assuming Roscoe takes you to the warehouse. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
I tried to go by any kind of back alley or any way that's not obvious.
okay. So make a wisdom check. If you have the, I think there is a feat for that or a special skill for that. If you have it, streetwise or something like that. Well,
I don't think in 5th edition there is something like that, and I don't have it. But
okay. So
I'll make wisdom, and I get a +1 because of my stone. Oh my gosh! I crit again! Wow.
Amazing. Okay, so you indeed managed to take the group using different alleys and different streets, basically bypassing a lot of the obvious routes, and you indeed reach the warehouse where you can hear the dwarf cursing that he doesn't get any help peeling those potatoes. And you can hear people in the streets and the day-to-day noises of the city. You don't hear any guards right now.
Hello. I'm back just as I promised, and look, I brought 2 more pairs of hands to help with the potatoes. Actually, 3 more pairs of hands, but this one, his hands are tied, so he won't be much help actually.
So the dwarf basically gets up, take a hard look at Milo with all the ropes covering it, and then he kicks 3 barrels full of potatoes to each of you, and then he sits down to peel his own. No, get to work then.
Okay. Roscoe will sit down and take out a knife and start peeling the potatoes.
Okay. Tal and Thokk, what do you do?
Is there any way to bar the door to this basement that we came through?
Yes, there are a lot of crates and barrels in this warehouse. You can easily bar it.
I'm gonna block the door as best I can before I sit down to help peel the potatoes.
Okay. Tal? Is he muted again?
Looks like we may have lost him again.
Oh, that's sad. Okay. His internet is wacky. Okay.
Discord shows him offline.
Yeah. So I assume Tal also helps to peel the potatoes. And at some point you can hear guards rushing past the warehouse, and but they don't stop at the door. They simply go forward. And Thokk, you can hear one of them crying out that Ondul is having a hard time with his spell. No one knows why exactly. When the guard says that to his friend, and then they both run into the city, you can see the dwarf smiling. After something like 10 minutes peeling potatoes, the dwarf suddenly stops, and he gets up, cleans himself, says lunch, and then he simply goes to another barrel, opens it, takes out 2 bottles of wine and a loaf of bread, 2 slices of cheese, and dried up meat. And he simply turns over another crate, lays it on the crate, and offers you to pick and eat whatever you want. He simply starts eating without saying anything else. If you want, you can consider it a short rest.
Oh, okay. I do want to. I guess Roscoe has some questions at this point. So, I'm Roscoe. What's your name? How do you know Lenithon? Did you know that the priests in the temple are torturers? And also,
Yeah, I hear you. And also,
um, let's see. Maybe I'll save that one for later.
okay. So he basically answers through a mouth full of cheese and bread. He says, "Bladebeard." And he says, Big Blue pays well. And he stuffs more food into his mouth. And he, regarding the temple guards, he says, "Don't like those guys. They think they're good, but they're not. Just fuckers. Don't do anything good for the city."
Where does this tunnel lead to?
He says, outside the walls. Just half a day from the river. Big Blue just told me to prepare. Way out.
That's good. Did he really say that he's my friend?
He looks at you and then he says, well, he didn't use that word. He just told me to prepare a package if someone matching your description passes by. The package waits at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, I mean, Roscoe is sort of disappointed, but also pleased at the same time, like in quick succession about that news. You see this guard here that we caught. He is his name is Milo, and he is my third cousin on my mother's side, and he used to live 5 doors down from us. Before they came and destroyed my village and everybody disappeared. Uh, and I I'm curious to know. I mean, what happened? Is there a way to revive him and get him to talk to us?
He looks at him and says, "It doesn't look like a god to me."
What does he look like to you?
And then he looks at you and he says, "Halfling, I don't see the guard's insignia on him. Don't see standard equipment."
Oh, He was riding an owl. Do they have owl riders in the city normally?
Not that I know of. Horses, yes. Owls, I don't think so.
Huh. Do we have anything that can how is he looking aside from the apparent like illness that afflicts him?
Sleeping. And beside that, you can see that he hasn't been fed for a while. He's very thin. He lost a lot of weight. And he is obviously sick, but you're not sure what of.
Could I shake him awake and take and see what happens when he wakes up?
I assume so, right, Will? You can simply pick him up.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's awake by now since we've been peeling potatoes. The spell only lasts for a minute.
Oh, I see. Okay, so he's awake. But he's gagged, so he doesn't say anything.
Okay. Can I take the gag off?
Yes. When you do, Milo tries to whisper something. You can see that his eyes are rolling, and he seems to be clearly unfocused. Tal, are you with us? He's not. Bummer. Okay. So.
I am here.
Oh, great.
Like,
so.
what do you mean by not with you with the trip?
No, with us here because we lost you a couple minutes ago. Tal, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh.
And Roscoe, the Milo basically motions you to step closer to him.
Wait, is Milo the one I gagged earlier?
Yes. Hey, Paul, you, while holding the dagger, the ancient dagger you took from Milo, suddenly have this vision. So you're not sure if it's a vision or if it's a lucid dream, but you find yourself in an ancient castle. It's very dark, and there are cobwebs everywhere, a lot of neglect, and you are standing in the middle of a corridor leading to a room. On the two walls, on each side of you, paintings hang, and you can see drawings of noble people, but the strange thing is that where their face should be, all you can see is a black hole. There's nothing there, but paintings of nobles, males and females, in Napoleon-like posters, but no faces. And in front of you, there's an opening to a room. This is what you see. What do you do?
Wait, can I tell this to the group or?
You don't see the group. You are alone in this castle, in this corridor.
I let out a roar, and I go, "Show yourself, coward!"
When you say that, a figure emerges right in front of you. It stands in the middle of the room. All you can see is basically a robe and a cape covering it from head to toe. You don't see anything, and it simply motions you to enter the room.
I will go there.
Sorry, you will what?
I will head to the door. Is that the door?
There is no door. It's simply an opening.
Oh, an opening? Okay, I'll go to the opening.
Okay. Roscoe, you As I said, Milo was basically motioning you to step closer. Do you?
Can I see if he? Because I mean, he did try to stab me a few minutes ago.
Correct.
And I know he doesn't have the knife anymore, but I am maybe a little still suspicious of his intentions.
Mhm.
Could I maybe try and make out with what intent he's asking me to do that? If it's with
Yes,
some
roll
sort
your insight. Make an insight check.
of 15.
Okay. You believe he's trying to tell you something.
Oh, I am there.
Okay. So as you approach him, he whispers to you, "Her eyes, eyes in the night. She has the full breath of death. She speaks, and we have to listen. Have to listen."
Who speaks? Who is she?
And going back to Tal, that figure in front of you, now that you entered the room, seems to be either a very, very old woman, or maybe she's young but hunched and deformed. You're not sure because of the robes that cover her. She doesn't turn her head to you, but she does say something. She says, "Place the dagger on his lips."
Have I noticed anything at all?
So you do see Roscoe and Milo speaking, and you can sense Cal behind you. And yes, in a peculiar way, he isn't very responsive. He's kind of just standing there. I'm not sure. You do hear guards outside talking about another priest helping on duel, and basically deploying the guards all around the city.
Because guys, we gotta go.
Tal doesn't respond.
In response to the woman who is telling me to put the dagger, do I have my battle axe or any weapon aside from the dagger?
Yes, yes.
I bring out my battle axe and I, I, I would say I would take precaution against this woman and I go, explain yourself, wizard, or whatever you are. Where am I?
So she turns to you, and then at this point you can actually see the inside of her hood. And what you see is a mess of hair. So think about it this way. Think about a woman's hair. It should be only, around her head, but all you can see is a big lump of moving, swirling hair, as if the figure is composed out of hair. There are no visible, eyes or mouth, but then when it speaks, this creature speaks, you can see the hair moves as to form a mouth. And it says again, "Place the dagger on his lips." And when the word lips ends, you suddenly wake up from that strange dream. You can see Roscoe is talking to his friend or his cousin Milo. You can see Thokk looking at you as if trying to understand what's up with you. And you can hear guards outside. You're still holding the dagger.
Like, am I pointing it towards anyone or?
So you do feel kind of an inkling to step closer to Milo and Roscoe. That's a very strange feeling, but you're not sure if there's any other effect other than that.
Can I shake it off? Like, can I ignore the urge to get near Roscoe and Milo?
Make a wisdom saving throw.
15.
Okay, so you do take 2 steps closer to Milo and Roscoe, and your hand kind of stretches out of its own, but then you get a grip on yourself and you manage to quench that feeling. So you are master of your own body again.
I call out Milo and I go, "Keep your distance. What is wrong with your dagger? It is whispering words to me."
Now, Thokk, being a bard and with considerable knowledge, I need you to make an intelligent, maybe history check if you have it. Okay. So, Thokk, taking into consideration the age of the dagger and the fact that Milo was talking about voices and now Tal is acting strange, you have a feeling that the dagger is possibly cursed, and there might be more information to be gleaned from it if you'll investigate it thoroughly.
Say, Tal, drop the dagger. I think it's cursed.
Is it possible to drop the dagger?
If you try, then yes, it falls to the floor.
Okay, I will put it to the side, and I go, "Nobody dares pick up the dagger."
Say, let's find out what we're dealing with here.
Can I ask? Oh, okay.
Say, I cast Identify on the dagger.
Great. So you start to cast this ritual or spell. Is it a spell?
I'm gonna go ahead, since we have people hunting for us outside, I'm gonna go ahead and burn the spell slot.
Okay, great. So you do cast this spell, and you immediately take a step back as you learn that this is obviously a magical dagger. It's a +1 to hit, and it does require attunement to use its main property, which is to be used like a sending stone. But you do feel that there are more, more interest, so like delicate magic woven into it that isn't readily ascertained using just an identifier spell. You do learn the name of its creator, and the name is Morgaya.
Does that name mean anything to me?
You might need to either research it or think about it more. You can try and make another history check. So the name sounds familiar. Maybe you did read about someone named Morgaya in a book or something like that, but you need to actually, research it in a library or something like that. Then you will come to an answer. But the fact that the dagger is, 300 years old, and its creator, its name, and the magic is still active, doesn't bode very well.
While this has been going on, I think Roscoe's been sort of oblivious to what has been happening with Tal and with Thokk and with the dagger because he's so focused on pumping Milo for information, and he really wants to know what happened. Who is this woman that compels him? And also, the main question in his heart is where are my parents? What happened to my parents?
So Milo says, She tries to kill you. She wants us to kill you. And then he says, the eyes in the night, they see through our eyes. And then he looks at the dagger and at you, and then he says, finish it, or it will never be over. Kill me now, or others will come.
Are you? I don't. No.
Can I break the
No.
dagger?
What? Sorry?
Can I break the dagger?
You can definitely try and step on it if you want. Or with your axe, or with the hammer, or whatever.
Magic items are pretty much indestructible, though, so be careful.
I don't want to step on a dagger.
Yeah.
Can I pick it up using some of the spare clothing I've got in my pack and wrap it up and stuff it in the bottom of the pack to deal with later?
Yes, of course. Okay, you do. So when you kind of wrap it up, Milo starts to shake, and he basically pleads to be set free, but he doesn't mean set free from the ropes. Roscoe, you get that pretty clearly.
Yeah, yeah, Roscoe is very concerned, and he has basically 0% intention of killing this person, his cousin.
Okay. Guards, you can hear them start to knock on doors around the inn, and you can hear Gauntlet basically banging on the barred door, that Thokk Bard. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay,
time to go, guys.
Yep. Okay, down the hatch. Tal, can you pick up Milo?
He's a halfling, or is he a gnome?
Halfling.
Halfling? Okay, since he's tied up, I will make I'll make him like a backpack. I'll form knots and make him like a backpack and put him on my back.
Okay, great. So you do that, and the dwarf simply stands up and points at the trapdoor again. This time he says, hurry, as he opens the trapdoor.
Okay, thank you.
Down the hatch.
Beard. We owe you one, or 3 or 4.
And he says, you owe Big Blue. And then as you go into the hatch, he basically closes the door, and you can hear him moving crates and barrels, probably to cover your tracks.
I'll take out a torch and light it, because I assume it's quite dark down.
Yes. So as you three, or basically should I say 4, move through this tunnel, it's mason, so someone built it, probably. I don't know, you think it's pretty ancient. It's not something new. You see barrels and shelves with bottles of wine, so you suspect it was constructed as a wine cellar or something like that. And it simply keeps going on and on, with the shadows dancing around you as your torch kind of burns out, and you can see shadows dancing and the flame dancing as you move along the corridor. And I need you all at this point to make perception checks. Okay, so Tal, right when Milo starts screaming, she's here, the eyes, you see that some of the shadows that dance about you aren't dancing in coordination to your movements or to the movements of the flames. You feel that they have some life of their own. And Thokk, you have a bad feeling, like the dagger you're carrying kind of emanates a very pure essence of evil. It's like you're carrying, how should I say it? Guilt and bitter tastes and disease on your back. Like you have this very, very bad feeling about it. Roscoe, you don't feel anything while you run forward.
Around us, is it all bottles, or are there casks of wine as well?
Casks of wine as well. So if you
Actually, Roscoe does feel a little bit guilty. Actually, coincidentally, maybe, in the sense that he thinks that, I mean, what Milo really needs is healing, probably at a temple, and the priests that we're running away from are probably the only people that can help him. And
If they don't flay him first.
yeah, he's so every day he's so torn between such strong and competing impulses now. You know, it's very confusing for him.
As we're moving through the room, do I see are any of the casks open, or are they all sealed?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
You said there were casks as well as bottles.
Yes.
Are any of them open, or is it all sealed containers?
So some open, some sealed. You have a feeling that the dwarf was coming down every once in a while to fill his bottles, and maybe the inn is using this place as storage. You're not sure, but some are open, some are closed.
I'm gonna dump the dagger into the next open cask I see.
Okay. As you do,
hopefully without anybody else noticing.
Okay. As you do, Tal, suddenly the shadows return to what they've been before. Simply shadows.
I will feel disappointed and I go, oh, I thought it was gonna be warm up already. And then I bonk Milo on the head with my batmax and I go, shh, be quiet.
Okay. Roscoe, at this point you reach to the end of the tunnel. It ends with a small grate, and behind the grate, you see that the grate is detachable. You can actually pull it open, and behind it you can see something that looks like a sewer tunnel, but it's dry. It's like a T intersection that goes left and right. The right section is blocked with stones that you think were put there on purpose. It's not, tunnel collapse or something like that. And the left, there's an opening there, and you can see that maybe the sewer has dried up, or someone diverted the flow, but it's relatively clean, and just something like 10 feet to the left you can see a small chest to the left side of the tunnel.
Oh, this is guys, this is from Lenathon, I think. It's a present for us. And I kind of I run to it and excited.
Okay. When you approach the chest, you do see that its hood is decorated with something that looks like a dragon spreading its wings. It's not locked.
Okay, I pop it right open because I trust the giver.
Okay, you can see 2 bottles of some bluish greenish liquid inside of them, and packages of rations. You count something like 8 or 10 portions, which should suffice for something like a day travel for one person, each portion. So
Okay. I'll take 3. And are the bottles labeled?
nope.
Do they? What do they smell like? If I sort of uncork one or open one.
They smell clean.
Do they seem like potions or do they seem like bottles of water?
No, you think these are potions.
Oh. Okay.
Uh, before we go anywhere, since we are in a stash of where the wine and ale is, can I grab like a small barrel of booze or like at least a bottle of booze?
Yes, you can definitely pick up a small barrel, maybe ale or wine, whatever you want.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll do that.
Great. Roscoe, the tunnel leads on, and at the far side of it, you can spot daylight through another grate.
You cut out for a minute there, Ito. I didn't quite catch that.
You said that the tunnel leads on, and on its far side, you can spot daylight behind another grate.
Okay, I guess I'll just quickly pick up the potions for now, and I figure that Thokk maybe can identify them later. Um, and is there anything else in the chest? Is there like I think I'll check the chest pretty thoroughly for like if there's like a secret compartment or something.
No, just the potions and food.
Okay, so then I guess I'll lead the way to the grate.
Okay.
I'll extinguish the torch and put it back since we don't need it anymore, and try and I'll try and open the grate a little bit and peek my head out and see where it opens into.
Okay. When you do, you notice that the grate is basically a very small sally port that leads right outside the city walls. You can see that the area around the wall, or the portion of the wall that you are about to get out of, is cleared of any trees or obstacles, but something like, I don't know, 200 feet, you can see that the terrain becomes hilly, and you can see some small trees and boulders are, scattered across. And you can identify a road leading from the walls, or maybe from one of the wall gates, and into the open.
I'm guessing that this, if we were to exit this grate, we would be kind of quite exposed in terms of like guards on the walls could see us potentially.
So potentially yes, but the walls are quite high, and you're not sure where the guard towers are located. But potentially yes.
Okay. I guess I'd like to emerge from the grate and check that out a little more thoroughly, because Roscoe's thinking, well, do we need to maybe wait for the cover of darkness? Although it's never really dark here anyway, is it?
Right, correct. So as you look around, you can see that the actual gate that leads out of town is a little. It's farther from where you stand. So if there is any concentration of guards, it will probably be at the gate. You can spot a sign that is planted something like 50 to 60 feet from the gate, and you can easily read what's written on it. So it points to the direction west of the city, and it reads Baldur's Gate. And you can see several caravans and horse riders and people basically crowding around the gates. Obviously, the flow into and out of the city has stopped, so they basically wait there at the gates.
Yeah, I guess we've caused a traffic jam. So yeah, I guess I'll pop back down and tell everybody what I saw, and say maybe about 200 feet from the exit. It seems that there are um, some hills with some trees, and maybe we can hide there. Uh, we'll probably have to move there pretty quickly, though.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think we should head for the hills.
Okay. So Tal, unless you object, you can all basically lay low and dash to the nearest tree or hill or boulder to clear out the walls. And if you do, please make perception checks as you rush.
No, I have no objections.
Okay.
I have been rolling like gold today.
Yes.
Clearly, I can't perceive my own feet today. So
Yeah, that happens. So okay, you three basically dash out of your hiding place and clear out the walls. Roscoe and Tal, you indeed identify that most of the guards' attention is to the gates and to the traffic jam there. You can see a lot of merchants and caravans kind of huddle next to the gate, and people are really, really annoyed. Roscoe, you identify that most of the caravans that are parked next to the gate aren't merchants or nobles or something like that. It seems like families. Basically, think of a wagon full of whatever a family could salvage from its home, and all the kids and the parents are basically sitting on top of their possessions, and they simply try to get into the city. You can count something like 5 or 6 of those wagons, with people expressions grim and uncertain.
They seem like refugees then.
Yes, you think so.
Makes me sad.
But you clear out the territory between the walls and the trees. So at this point, where do you want to go? Obviously, the road leads west to Baldur's Gate. There's another sign that leads north to Triel, and another sign that points to the east to a city called Scornable. You can probably see it on the map if you look on Roll20. So you're basically at Elturel. You have Baldur's Gate to your left, Thornbell to your right, a Triel to the north, and Berdisk and Greenest to the south.
do we need to go back to Greenest, or do we need to head to Baldur's Gate?
I want to know where my parents are. I want to know what happened to my people. If Milo doesn't know anything or doesn't tell us anything, then I guess we have business in Baldur's Gate still. I know, Thokk, that you've been looking for your friend. You've been very patient with us.
No, if I hadn't been with you, I wouldn't know where to look.
maybe Thokk, can you check out these potions and see what they are, and Milo, I see the eyes too sometimes. They come to me at night. They're very scary. But who do they belong to? Who is she? Who are these eyes, and where are my parents? What happened?
The halfling starts to cry.
I start to cry too.
But
How far are we away from the city walls at this point?
So it depends. If you're simply sitting there under a tree, then something like 200 to 300 feet. But you need to choose where to go.
I vote for Baldur's Gate.
Wait, how? What happened to Brius? I say that in character.
Sorry, can you repeat that? What happened to?
I asked Talk and Roscoe, like, what about Brius? Are we just gonna ignore that place?
Well, the dragons said that they were leaving there and that they were taking their spoils to Baldur's Gate, and he wanted us to go try to intercept the cultists there. There was something about a cave and dragon's eggs that someone else wanted us to help them with. But it seems to me that's, we're halfway to Baldur's Gate from Greenest now. We might as well just head on.
Yeah, I lived in Baldur's Gate for a couple of years actually. I know it. I even have a map, and I actually do have a small map of Baldur's Gate that I made. It's probably not very refined or uh, elegant, but I pull it out and show you.
Okay.
This was the
Either
alley
way,
where
we
my
need to get.
sister and I. This was the alley where my sister and I slept for the first month, and then this was the market where, well, where we used to find food and money.
That's great, but I think whichever way we're going, we need to move because we need to get away from Elturel. And I think your friend could use some sleep and maybe some good soup.
Yes, yes. Let's keep our eyes peeled for mushrooms on the way.
Okay.
I have no objections.
Great. So you can either travel west on the road itself, or you can keep a short distance from it, so the terrain will not be so easily traveled, but at least you won't be on the main road. It's really up to you.
I think for the first couple hours, we should stay clear of the road and see what we see, and then if we're not seeing like scouting parties or whatever, use the road for faster travel.
Okay. Great.
The probably like all the good mushrooms that grow by the road are probably picked already, so we should stay off the road, and so we'll find the better mushrooms that way.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's stay off the road till you find all the mushrooms you need, and then let's stop and make soup.
Great. Okay, so you head west, keeping yourself out, or keeping some distance from the actual road, and you indeed travel a few hours. It's approaching noon right now, so the sun is still up in the air, and as soon as you clear out the immediate vicinity of Elturel, the effect of the second sun diminishes greatly. So you're basically back to the usual cycle of day and night now. The weather is pleasant, and you can hear a river flowing to the south of you, but you can't really see it. It's too far away. But you can definitely hear and smell it. After something like a half day of walking and traveling, with Milo occasionally shuddering and coughing, Thokk, you spot a young girl playing in the. It's a lightly forested region where you enter, so you can spot a small child, and she's definitely playing with something. She's holding a small stool and uses it as a table. She sits next to it, and she has a stuffed puppet of what seems to be a lizard. And she placed a rock and put the lizard next to the rock, on top of the rock, and it's like she and the lizard are having dinner or tea or something like that. And the interesting part is that the lizard puppet is stained. It's like someone tried to dye it or color it, but couldn't really succeed.
What color?
If you didn't know better, you thought it was blue.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said it seems to be blue, but it's a real mess, so you're not sure.
I'm going to walk up to the little girl and point at her puppet and say, "That looks like a friend of mine."
She looks up at you and then she says, "Did it wink at you too?"
Oh no, he's my friend. We talk.
He didn't talk to me. He just roared and made a lot of noise, and then all the people were afraid. But then it looked at me and he winked, and I knew that everything was going to be okay.
How long ago was this?
It was, I don't know, and then she counts on her fingers. 4 days? We've been traveling to Elturel. We'll build a new house. Because the bad people, they burned it. But the lizard was cute.
Oh, I'm sure your new house will be wonderful.
And then she looks at you and says, "Are you hungry?"
No, my friends and I actually just had some really wonderful soup that my friend made.
Oh. She says, "Well, my parents are just back there, and if you are hungry, you can come to eat with us. But if you have good soup, my mother would be delighted."
What do you say, friends? Do you want to share?
Absolutely. Any friend of Lenathan is a friend of mine, I guess. That's how that works, right?
I don't know.
I've never had a dragon friend before, so it's all very new to me.
I cough.
Oh, well, sorry.
She gets up and she picks up the stool and the puppet, and with an afterthought, she picks up the rock that the puppet was sitting on, and she drags all that to a small camp that you can now see. You can see 2 wagons and basically what appears to you as a family of farmers. You can see a man and obviously his wife. They are huddling next to a small fire, and they try to make food. And you can see 3 little kids basically playing with sticks and stones. The kids seem to be very, very happy and easygoing, but the parents seem to be very grim. It's like it's strange to see the behaviors of these two. And on top of the wagon, you can obviously see all the possessions of that family. So there are 2 wagons. One of them is covered with, blankets and mattresses and pots, etc. The other is full with whatever probably these farmers could salvage from their garden, which, pumpkins and watermelons and whatnot, potatoes. And when they see you, the man kind of waves and says, "Over here, we have some food if you want."
we just had breakfast and lunch, but I have room for more.
The man
Thank you so
smiles.
much.
He smiles and says, "Well, the road has been good to you, I see."
You tuned out again, Ido. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. The man says, "The road has been good to you, I see."
We weren't on the road, but okay.
He looks confused, but he welcomes you, and he says, "My name is Haim, and this is Leica." And he points to the woman. "She's my wife. And unfortunately, we have to find a new home for ourselves."
What happened?
Raiders. They came with a dragon, and they basically burned everything we had. Not before they took any valuables that we had. And then the young girl, she says, "But the dragon is my friend. He winked at me." And the adults, they simply nod and kind of shush her. And then Haim says that indeed the dragon was acting strangely. The real terror was the raiders and not this beast that appeared in the sky.
Roscoe's kind of, I guess he's a little bit happy that his Lenithon is taking his advice. At least that's how he thinks of it, and trying not to hurt people. So hi Haim, hi Leica, I'm Roscoe, and this is Tal, and this is Thokk, and they are not my wives, and I am not their wife. We are just friends, and traveling companions. What town were you from?
It was a small village. The name was Organ. It was named after one of our heroes who single-handedly defeated an orc.
Oh,
Yes, we came to settle that place 20 years ago, and orcs were everywhere, and he defeated their chieftain, but he died himself from the grieve wounds that the orc has inflicted on him. That said, he did save a small community, and we owe him a lot for that. At this point, Milo coughs again, and Haim and Leica kind of prick their ears, and they look worried. Anything we should be wary of? And they kind of protect their kids, taking a step back.
So no, our friend is sick, but it's not contagious. He can't give it to others.
Oh. Okay, so maybe if you want to give him some food, we have vegetables, we have fruits, whatever you need. And Leica, she rushes to one of the wagons and starts digging in, and she eventually produces this small package, which she hands to you, Thokk. It's a healing kit made of herbs and ointments and bandages, and she simply hands it to you and says, use whatever you want, whatever you need.
Okay, I smile and say thank you, but what he needs won't be this easy to find. And I give her back the kit and said, "Save it to keep your family well."
She smiles and she says, with Melora's help, I hope you will be fine and your friend will be fine. But Elturel is just half a day ride or walk from here. Obviously, the priest there could help you.
Unfortunately, we just came from there, and they said we should go to Baldur's Gate.
Oh, well, In this case, it's a long and dangerous journey. Most of the settlements next to the Chointar River has been attacked. People had to leave their homes. They either go to Elturel or to Baldur's Gate. There will be a lot of refugees on the road.
That's very sad.
And
But when I was young, I lost my home too, and my town and my family, and you can start a new life. Um, you never forget, but it's there's hope for the future.
Haim says, yes, well, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have packed whatever we had and had to build a new home. But, those raiders, I don't know, I've heard a lot of communities and a lot of small villages that has been attacked. I really hope that we'll be safe in Elturel or, other people in Baldur's Gate. If a lot of communities has been raided, I assume that those raiders won't stop there.
Well, Elturel is very well guarded.
Yes, well,
There are lots and lots of guards all over the place.
he looks at you, but he smiles, and he says, "Well, we are planning to spend the night here because our horses are tired, and we don't want to strain them. If you want, you can spend the night with us, and have a good breakfast before you head to the road. And safety is in numbers, so you are very much welcome to join us."
That sounds very nice. What do you guys think? Do you want to spend the night here with these nice people?
I think that would be fine.
Okay. Thokk, do you have your instrument? So you have your rocks, but I think you have another instrument that you play.
Yeah, I have my Artling, which is a guitar kind of thing.
So is it visible? Is it your word in the open?
Yeah, it's hanging on my back.
Okay. So the kids basically surround you, point at this, and ask you to play. Or if you have any tale to tell, they will be thrilled.
I'll sit down and start playing.
Okay, and when you do, the little girl that invited you in, she basically stays close to you, and she obviously brags about having found you in the first place. So she sits really close to you as you play. The kids are all around you, listening to whatever you do play. With Haim and Leica basically work to make everyone comfortable, but they do once in a while look at Milo, who seems to be withering away with every hour that passes. And I think that with that we'll finish for today.
Before we go, is Milo tied up or?
So it really depends on you. I was assuming he is, but if you want to set him free, that's fine by me. He isn't gagged, though.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, so I basically assumed that you prepared this harness to carry him. So if you're asking if they saw that he's tied up or not, it was probably not that obvious with the harness you prepared. But other than that, you get to decide.
Okay, and while I'm playing, I'm gonna weave my Song of Rest in with whatever else I play.
Okay, great.
Over the course of the afternoon, so anybody that needs healing can grab an extra D6, and hopefully their pack animals will feel better.
Okay, great. So this small family really appreciates it.
And I assume over the course of the day that Milo has continued to be unresponsive in terms of giving any clear information about what happened to to my parents and to the family. And
So you are, let's assume that you are trying to spend some time with him and glean whatever possible. And we'll see if he spills anything interesting next session.
Okay, great.
Great. Okay, thanks guys. And as always, I will summarize everything and write it down in Roll20. And about next session and the one after that, we'll need to see if I'll manage to recruit someone. Then we might meet without you, Ben. But otherwise, I'll let you know. We might take a break for 2 weeks, and then return in full force when the new year starts.
Sounds good.
Okay, guys.
Happy holiday, everybody, and see you all in the new year.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all. It's been great.
Thanks. Have a great week. See you next time.